difference in champion pools and where they're shared. And I think Elise and Vi are champions that I'm So Fresh and the other one could still pull out in the current meta. They also both like to play the likes of Nocturne, but, and we said, we're also highlighting that I'm So Fresh probably only one that'll jungle Shyvana between the two of them.
Absolutely. Still with the bans, going quite slow, still seeing some of the ones we have throughout the entire weekend. Olaf, that Mundo finally coming out, gets his third ban, I believe, coming up on a fourth one maybe. Cassidy 100%. Don't think we're going to see him in this tournament.
Lemondogs learned where Super Hot Crew did not from yesterday. They've banned away both Shyvana and Dr. Mundo, and I think that's a good pickup. Interesting last ban here of the Kha'Zix that is directly targeted at Schley. They want to remove his burst potential and remove the zone control that he has. But champions like Orianna are still available. Ziggs still available for pickup if they wanted to go that route. You've got all the AD carries. Yesterday we were seeing Lucian and Jinx bans all the way through. So a lot of high priority picks available here for both teams.
Wouldn't be surprised to see the fast Renekton coming out if they do decide to grab this Lucian. It's the pickup that makes Crazy Caps comfortable. We'll have to see what they decide to go with. They're still a little undecided as they hover champions and just kind of play with the minds of TSM.
Yeah, we're going to see how this goes. Now, in terms of the players, as we said, the Lemondogs roster, we need to keep our eyes on I'm So Fresh and Schlayer. These are two guys that have played together for a long time. They've been on a number of different teams together. Yep. And I feel like their synergy is going to need to be what we should be looking at, what we should keep our eyes on. Because if they can get snowballing and try shut down Bjergsen, that's going to be key to getting the Lemondogs, a foot up and taking advantage early.
And we can kind of see what TSM's trying to do already with this composition. They don't know much, so they'll take away what they do know and ban it out as the same aspect. They take that Elise away, the Shyvana's not there. I'm So Fresh is going to be not hurt in his jungle, but not on his tops.
And it's super safe picks as well.
Yeah.
The odd one's on a comfort champion. He's played a lot of Elise. It's one of his, big preferred picks. He played a lot during the LCS. Dyrus and Renekton, another champion he's very comfortable with, and they're safe. You're not revealing anything, and I think with TSM being red side, this actually plays into their favor. They have the ability to wait to see what Lemondogs lock in, and they can afford to counter pick, most likely leaving the mid lane pick to last to give Bjergsen that possibility of controlling mid.
That is a big fight initiation that they just locked in with Annie and Malphite. I think that mid game is going to be too much of a problem for them as they start grouping together. We'll see how they decide to react, and it looks like it could be a safety pick here with the Sivir. They don't want to be really in the range of any of that.
We'll see how that works out. I quite like the spell shield against the the initiation of Malphite and Annie, but the Malphite lock-in's interesting. Lemondogs played Malphite at Worlds, and it didn't work out. They had an all-in composition. It didn't pan out for them. The decision-making for this, we'll see how the rest of the comp matches up. You may see the likes of an Orianna getting locked in here and have an ultimate mega wombo combo, Orianna, Annie, and Malphite. If TSM get caught in that, that's going to be terrifying. But we'll see how Lemondogs decide to close out, to wrap up that composition.
It'll also be interesting to see how he plays the Malphite. We saw Wicked take it yesterday with the Triforce, which added the AD, and you could see that magic resistance was being built on the other side. So a little mentality game being played there. You called out the Ziggs. It's being hovered over. Right now, we are not seeing the mid lane, so Bjergsen is wanting the counter coming in for TSM.
This is definitely a trend that we're seeing more and more of. In the higher level play, if you are red side, allow your mid laner to just counter pick. Again, for the TSM composition, it's just safety. You've got Taric, who's very good at playing aggressively and defensively in lane. Sivir can have a lot of harass and a lot of pressure down on Lucian. So I like the combo from TSM. Lemondogs are the ones picking the risky champions right now. If the Samumu does get locked in, this is very much a press R composition. They really want to lock everybody down and have the culling from Lucian try to, take targets out as they've been caught by the Curse of the Sad Mummy.
Wombo combo extraordinaire is being locked in here by Lemondogs. If they can get this fight down, there is not much you can do from it. You're already hanging from a thread on the initiation, and there is more than one that can be missed to still make that fight work.
Yeah, the key is going to be timing their ultimates together. And we'll see. You heard Slayer, I think it was actually saying during the interview that this is a team that's only been together for about a month. And they're playing a composition that is very much reliant on coordination and timing. And if TSM are able to repel away from a curse or a bandage toss or use a spell shield on a key initiation, there are members of TSM that can get away from this. Renekton can dash out, Elise can run away, Sivir can outrun. So I feel like TSM, as long as they play patiently and controlled, are in an advantageous position. And that's locked.
And speaking, that is awesome. An assassin to come out against this team. But you kind of can pull the Zed aspect into this, right? Yesterday, look at how tanky this team's going to get. Can Bjergsen cancel them out if they go into late game?
Because there are 3 squishies on the side of Lemondogs, Annie, Lucian, and Ziggs.
That's where he has to impact.
That's where he has to impact. Those are the targets. He's obviously not going to be looking at a Mumu and Malphite.
Right,
And the
but
reason
they're going to be in his face.
The reason I like the pick, you've got 3 or 4 champions here on the side of TSM that can get away from a wombo combo.
That's true.
You're going to have LeBlanc being able to dash in and out of fights, being able to duplicate her dash, for a second time if she needs the range. So I really like the versatility of TSM, and we're going to see who's better at the teamwork aspect here, because if TSM can kite and control and play like Alliance did, they'll win.
That's something that interested me going through both of the videos that we just watched. Is TSM's Bjergsen came in and said the social was very easy for us coming into this. So if that's something that they worked on right away, some teams get a player and they're like, we'll work with him and see if it works. But that's what they had first, and everything fell into place. So as the teams load into the Rift, just a reminder that the Battle of the Atlantic continues Friday from Los Angeles with Double Lift and Counterlogic Gaming taking on Arnett and Team Alternate. So don't forget to miss that.
Yeah, keep up to date with that. Head into lolesports.com. Make sure you grab those tickets.
That. I said miss it.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Don't miss it is what you want.
Don't miss it.
The LeBlanc pick for me is very exciting. So we've seen our first time a Mumu, first time LeBlanc. This will be, I think, the second Malphite. And I think those are the key champions we have to keep our eyes on. If Bjergsen is able to control Schleyer like he was able to do in the spring splits, I think this is going to be tough times, because we've seen LeBlancs in the course of the last couple of months. There was a lot of talk about hot shot GG's LeBlanc. There was talk of fakers LeBlanc. And you just see how they delete people from the map. And this is something that is going to be very, very scary for Xerius.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Battle of the Atlantic. The spot 2 of the summer split teams being played out right now. And we're going to see Team Solo Mid on the red side versus Lemondogs on the blue as they make their way out of base. The LeBlanc pick is in. One of our interesting things for Bjergsen. We can't forget that our matchup of this one is in the jungle. I'm So Fresh versus Odd One. And he didn't get a Shyvana, and we saw that in picks and bans. They targeted 2 at him. Well, not 2, but they picked his Elise and targeted his Shyvana. So they know they wanted to hit I'm So Fresh.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that the fact that we're watching and a Mumu being picked here is interesting, and I think we may see him actually even going for something like a Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, being able to sustain that mana, get that HP back. And I think it, I haven't actually seen too much of Mumu in 3.14, so we'll have to see how well I'm So Fresh can actually perform. But a lot of the onus is going to be on how many people you can catch with that Curse of the Sad Mummy. And considering the mobility of TSM, he has to be so on point with pulling the trigger and making sure he lands that.
Well, here's the thing. They start off with a Mumu that's already a jungler that you may want to get in the face of, especially knowing the team. There is no hard crowd control unless Annie has already bursted that stun up, which she probably will, and it's AoE. So if they get a ward in, they know where he's going, and they just have to avoid that.
Yeah, the level 1 power of Team Solo Mid is much higher than that of Lemondogs. So, like you said, whenever you see a Mumu, like we've seen a Mumu during the course of this year, actually, it's not unusual to invade their blue. Challenge for it. Deny it if possible, because if you group up and chase it down, you immediately put I'm So Fresh and a Mumu very far behind. So Lemondogs are going to have to group up and make sure they go 4 or even 5 man onto this blue buff, or alternatively just do a blue buff trade, which is something we do see fairly often.
And you hear some, you're speaking about the Spectral Wraith on a Mumu, you hear people that try it or play it, and they're like, I feel like an 80 carry when I go back in the jungle, I just heal up and then I go back and fight.
Yeah.
So it definitely is formidable, and he will be back to the fight. That's something you always have to watch for. And we are on to the Rift as you hear that sultry voice just calling us in. Let's see what they can do here. They're going to set out the fan out, as we expected in most of these games right here. The pride of the Battle of the Atlantic on the line.
So we're only at 50 seconds. The teams could potentially group up and try to challenge for a buff, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And this is actually a good sign for I'm So Fresh. If he's able to pick up his blue uncontested, it'll work well for him. However, the Odd One is hanging around in the back of his red buff. So we may actually see Dyrus and the Odd One going in. We'll just have to see how the next sort of 30 to 40 seconds pans out.
Looking at the trinkets.
Everyone's gone Warding Totem.
Yep.
Every single one of them Warding Totem. What you tend to see whenever anybody starts with a sweeping lens, you can assume that there's going to be some form of invade. And we've seen junglers or supports doing it. But the trend that's picked up most popularity recently is the supports start with a Warding Totem. They get a couple minutes of ward very early on, like you're seeing Xerius do now, and then changing it to the likes of the sweeping trinket, just to allow denial of vision later on. Once again, you see Odd1, Wild Turtle, Special, they're grouping up. So it does look like a lane swap is most likely going to come into play here for Team Solo Mid.
So with the LeBlanc pick, how does this kind of have to play out for them? Because we did talk about that I'm So Fresh and Mew is going to get quite tanky, but if he can find all of the targets that he wants, Lucian, Ziggs, and Annie, how does he start that? Is it all just a bottom row game for him? It's focus on the bottom of the map.
Bjergsen's most likely going to play this one out, much like you see Cassidon's being played. You see Team Solo Mid to actually secure that blue buff. Very interesting, Lemondogs group up to pick up the red buff for themselves. So they fell back from TSM going for the invade. And that means that Mumu has no blue buff, so we really need to keep tabs on his clear speed and his farming speed.
He should be able to head up and grab it with the 2v1 being swapped out and the help from Annie. We'll see what he does here.
Yeah, the decision is going to come to them from the rest of the team if they actually try to push with him. It looks like Mew is going to be going for the support, but look at Dyrus coming to defend this blue buff. He's going to check it out, realizes nobody's there yet. Now, Dyrus can afford to do this because his wave is not being pushed against his tower yet. And it does look like he's maybe just going to back up. He's going to see that ward. And now all of a sudden, I'm So Fresh and Mew are in a little bit of trouble if Dyrus wants to contest it.
He's got about 2 waves of time to not have to be in that lane, and he'll be okay. We'll have to see how this pans out. It looks like he's just going to try to pressure. He will clear that away for the Odd One and be nice. Good guy, Dyrus. But it looks like I'm So Fresh does get his blue, but this is going to mean Odd One is much faster around the jungle to start, and he is going to be a higher level as he comes into lane.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward start here from the teams. I think Dyrus is doing the best that he can. He's currently sitting on 7 CS to Mew's 0. Mew forced to use a teleport because if Schlei's already in trouble.
Bjergsen trying to go hard. The Ignite is on the first blood. 3 minutes and 25 seconds, and he already puts himself on the board.
And the problem is, that's going to keep happening.
Lane. Oh my gosh.
It's not over yet. They're going to dive
around him. They were watching it. This is old TSM. They sat there and waited for the minions to get, he knew he was going down.
2-0 right now. TSM are going to be able to pick this tower up as well. There's a massive minion wave sitting behind them. Mew only has 2 CS to his name, and he's burned his teleport. This is a massive advantage for TSM already in the opening minutes of the game.
I have not seen 5 driver seats in a car before, but it looks like TSM has brought one to the party. Already 4 minutes in, they find the top lane turret, 2 kills on the board, and a grand in their pocket across pretty much everybody on the team, but Dyrus, who's holding his own in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and Dyrus is still doing well. If you compare the 1v2 situations, Dyrus is farming, he's getting levels, and he's actually going to be relevant as the game goes on. We're definitely going to have to keep our eyes on Bjergsen when he returns to the mid lane. But right now, it looks like I'm So Fresh wants to get a kill back. Dyrus sniffs it. You can see he's toying with the recall, and he realizes something is up. He realizes the presence is here. And if I'm So Fresh gets any vision, a banish toss may be trouble. And TSM, they're on the inner turret.
There's not much you can do. Bjergsen killed Schleia in mid. He's got no time to roam after going down. He's actually forced to back already in lane. And they are just doing huge damage here, even before the 8-minute armor mark.
I'm So Fresh needs to move up here and defend the tower. If I'm So Fresh shows his position to anybody on TSM, TSM can opt to stick with this 3-man focus because I'm So Fresh got a wolf camp for losing a top inner turret. Nobody's helping Mew.
They are trying to do what
assistance.
they can, but it's absolutely not in the right spot. This is the social. This is the team communication over the ability of mechanics playing with each other.
Yeah, and I'm So Fresh, he's still waiting for a gank. His buffs have now timed out. He's signaled his location. Bjergsen can pop him. Bjergsen's got double Dawn's Ring as well as that Amp and they've actually picked a fight with Dyrus.
There's the slice away. The Dice, they know they can't follow. They're going to be 3 under a turret. It'd be scary for Bjergsen to go into this one, and he knows it as well. So it looks like they're going to back off. Dyrus says, we're fine. Let's capitalize everywhere else that we can.
And they're doing perfectly at it. All right, now you see with the 2 towers and the CS, Sivir has a 5-minute BF sword in addition to a long sword. Now we are going to see Lemondogs most likely replying with a tower on this bottom lane if they stick around. They decide against it wisely as you do see the Odd One coming into range. And at least reveal his position, but the Odd One having a great start to this matchup. An assist and those 2 towers thanks to the unimpeded focus and I think the lack of low-level presence of Amumu.
Well, if they can't get to team fight phase, that Amumu ult, that Malphite Unstoppable Force is not going to mean much. Already 6 minutes into the game, the fastest dragon we've had this weekend, and it is going to be going to Team Solo Mid. More gold in their pocket. Already 2 turrets down on the map. And these guys are just wreaking havoc right now.
Completely uncontested. I doubt Lemondogs really knew exactly what was going on. They made some assumptions thanks to the ward that Crazy Caps put down, but a very, very dominant start. And before the 7-minute mark, there's 3,000 gold lead. And if you look at Schleier's positioning, he cannot challenge Bjergsen. He cannot get in range.
No.
Level 5 to level 6, he's already lost a duel once. He's falling behind in CS, and this is Bjergsen's lane completely. If Schleier steps a little too far forward, he will get bursted down and exploded.
For him to win that matchup so early makes it hard. It's almost like holding on to the bomb is more of a threat for him now, because once he throws it, Bjergsen wants blood.
And he's going to be able to secure it for himself at any moment. And the thing is, that's very good here for TSM, is that because of the kill that Bjergsen has and the presence he has in the mid lane, if he shoves the lane down, he can afford to roam. We do see Xerius getting stunned up, and that's just special. It's showing, hey, I can do this. Don't pick a fight with me, buddy, because we'll take you out.
So a huge thing, the factor playing into this one, I'm So Fresh quickly put on a champion he is not able to excel at for his team. Yes, Amumu can excel, but he's not the one that's going to come up and farm your lanes or help snowball your lanes if he's blue buff down, if he's leveled down, and that's what they made sure they did.
Xerius has been stunned up. This time they're going in.
Good bit of damage. He's going to be able to get out of that one. Not too much of a problem, but this means that every lane is consistently being won. Even trying to come back on Dyrus, he went back to the top lane, they switched it bottom, and they may even grab this turret within the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on how quickly Wild Turtle's going to be able to push it down. A little bit of assistance here from the likes of the Odd One. We talked about how getting Bjergsen in the mid lane may have freed up the Odd One to roam around the map, and it looks like the focus in this matchup is quite heavily on this duo lane right now. TSM took advantage of I'm So Fresh not helping top, and it allowed them to take 2 towers. And now, thanks to having this wave pushed up, the Odd One's hanging around the bottom lane saying, look, there may be a reply gank, there may be a counter gank, so let me try just back up Wild Turtle Special and take control of it. Bjergsen's got blue buff, and you know what? You got to give props to Schleier. He is keeping up in CS.
Absolutely.
Considering how defensive he's been playing.
It's made it tough, and now he's level 7. Wasn't really able to roam much beforehand, wouldn't have really made much of a difference without his ultimate because all the lanes were so pushed. But now that he can help, hopefully relieve some of this pressure on the lanes. Dyrus all the way up to that blue buff, making sure they still have eyes on that. And you can see 3 wards protecting Dyrus because he's got to go deep in his entire lane. He's got 2 turrets down already.
Yeah, he's working great. They've caught Bjergsen though. Schleier wants to jump in. It misses completely.
You can only catch a LeBlanc so much.
And that's exactly what we were highlighting. Now Xerius is in trouble.
Oh, Xerius gets caught after that one. Everybody was watching the last fight, but Xerius, the Ignite is down. The last attack coming from Turtle. They solidify that one. Look to push this wave, and good damage though from Crazy Caps there.
And just to talk about Bjergsen getting away, he managed to use the distortion, LeBlanc's W, after the banish toss stun came in. And that's something, if Renekton slice and dices, he can get out. If Wild Turtle uses Spell Shield, he can get out. Elise can repel. TSM can avoid the Wombo combo if they hit their skill shots. The Slayer with a good flash.
Losing flash against the LeBlanc is not what you want to have happen, but he does save himself for the time being, hopefully to find a little bit of help from I'm So Fresh in middle here. They know it. They are playing off of every instant. He can't even use the rubber ducky.
Absolutely deaded is the best way to describe it. I'm So Fresh is toying with Bjergsen, but I'm not sure this is a fight they want. Bjergsen's low.
He is quite low, but he still has the distortions. He has the blue buff. He should be quite fine here. Mew coming up with that unstoppable force. He makes sure to get himself out of it. Oh, they hit him. They may get the blue buff. They're going to not follow the clone. Xerius picks up the blue, which may help get a little bit of bottom lane back, but that's not really where they wanted to kill right now.
No, not ideal on the support, but you'll take what you can get. Like Khalifa Bjergsen, he didn't have 3 kills up, so no additional gold to give away. And we'll see how Xerius can make use of this blue buff. Unfortunately, because of a Bloodthirster...
About getting that bottom lane back.
Bloodthirster Sivir at 10 minutes. There's no way that Crazy Caps Lucian can trade with Sivir right now. He needs to get that Trinity Force completed. Or they need to burst Sivir down before she can sustain back any HP.
They got to be quite careful with that bottom turret. It looks like Wild Turtle Special want a blue buff. They go for the ward already. They do see that Xerius is, rather Crazy Caps is back, so they may not be able to dive as much as they wanted, but that potential gold sitting at about 300 HP on that turret. Dragon should be coming up, about 1:30 on that, and still full control on the map. You can see TSM has slowed down a bit, but they're still moving on things. They're not letting it go.
Very deep warding.
Yes.
I think from the teams that we've been seeing this weekend, I think TSM's early deep vision is very good, and it's part of the reason that they are allowed and they are getting away with most of these very deep pushes. A few minutes ago, Dyrus is actually basically farming near the inhibitor turret. And at 10 minutes into
and
the
then
game,
the jungle.
that's basically unheard of, but it was because he had that ring of vision you highlighted. And you can see a minute or two ago, Special, he moved up. He's got the tri-bush ward. He's got that deep lane ward. It's going to allow TSM to be fully aware of TSM's movements. And I'm So Fresh has moved up here, but they know it. They've pinged it. They've seen him going across the bush, and you can see immediately Turtle and Special back off.
4,000 gold at 12 minutes into the game. The fights are still going to be pretty chaotic for TSM to get themselves out of. You can still see them understanding there's power in these ultimates. Bjergsen trying to get away as they chase him down. They can still get something out of these, but it's going to be very hard. The assassination potential Bjergsen's going to have soon, they're going to have to pretty much kite.
So something that we've seen throughout the games, and like Pekka was talking about yesterday, when you get behind, you cannot get put into a position where you're too afraid to do anything. Because if you do nothing, all you're going to do is give up more advantages, more map presence. So what the Lemondogs need to do is find an opportunity where they can combo Tibbers, Curse the Sad Mummy, plus potentially, the Mega Inferno Bomb. And if they can win that engagement, they can claw back that 4,000 gold. But they have to be 100% perfect, because if they mess it up, they just give away more gold and allow their lead to grow even further away from them.
Almost at 20K. The turrets have definitely slowed down. This is going to be the Dragon in the bottom lane. Will Dyrus choose to go to the top? So it looks like they won't be able to contest this once again because of the trouble around the map. Did I'm So Fresh just lose his blue? It looks like it's actually still up and he's forced off of it.
Yeah, Dyrus was just running interference up in that top lane and just getting in I'm So Fresh's face.
Yeah.
He's dancing around on the wards, and it does look like there's a fight on bottom.
On the hunt, gets rocked right there. A good stun. The Timbers comes out, but it's the spell shield that actually stops most of the damage. All of that on Turtle just came from Crazy Cap, so very well played by that duo.
Dragon's secured. They're going to push the wave. They're going to take out their third tower of the game, and Team Solo Mid can push down this bottom wave if Bjergsen and the Odd One want to come in range. And finally, I'm So Fresh gets onto his blue, but I'm So Fresh has had zero impact in this game. There's been no presence from the Samumu at all.
You say finally, but he may actually not know. He goes ahead to smite it down. He's going to have to be forced over the wall, but there's the Odd One getting the lockdown, getting the execute, and he doesn't get his blue buff.
No, unfortunately not. The Odd One says, thank you very much. I will have that gift wrapped for me, and he manages to
It's the holidays.
And as we talked about, the warding that's coming down from TSM, and thanks to the presence in the mid lane, bottom lane, now Schleier's in trouble.
Absolutely everywhere. They know it's only harassed that time, but what is Schleier going to do about it? Just take it and hope that his team can start to regroup. You can see Mew knowing they need to keep farming. Like you said before, Schleier's still keeping up in CS somehow, being 0-2. He's getting himself around. So they're just not making it count.
The problem with this is, even though Schleier's keeping up in CS, nobody else is.
No.
There's a 40 CS difference in the top lane. There's a 20 CS difference by your AD carries, let alone 3 kills, 4 towers, 2 dragons. The picture is not pretty for the Lemondogs, and the only way is to find mistakes like this potentially. You see, I'm So Fresh gone in, but
I don't think he knew that the Odd One was going to be there, but they throw it in. The repel, actually the damage hits on the Odd One. They could start to find some kills here, but Bjergsen coming from the side enters in with a kill for himself. It's going to be Dyrus with Dominus on, gets the flash, gets the kite. Xpecial may be the one to go down in this one, and as he says, his grandpa chair, and he does.
And 1 for 1 at the end of the day, but a good turnaround. Odd One manages to make it out alive. And a little bit of overconfidence there from TSM. This is the one thing that can cost them and can come back to bite them in the backside. If they stick around longer than they should. If you look at the minimap, I'm So Fresh was relying on the damage from Mega Inferno Bomb, and it does hit.
Yep.
Chunks him down. Luckily, that sort of snare stun from Curse the Sad Mummy held Odd One in place. And the rest of the fight here, TSM realized that they bit off more than they could chew. They didn't have Wild Turtle there. If Wild Turtle was in the jungle with them, that fight could have gone another way because of the bouncing damage from the ricochet. But unfortunately, it wasn't the case, and TSM lose that small engagement.
Getting Odd One out with double buff. Xpecial goes down, so it helps them a little bit. A kill going over to Schleier that time. And he did get the first one we saw in the bottom lane. So they're creeping back. This is the part where we can kind of see that they aren't afraid to go in. That seemed like it was a little overzealous by I'm So Fresh, but everybody was there to help him out. So the coordination coming together a little bit, even though they have a lot of pressure on them right now.
Yeah, and there's a big goal disparity between these teams. You can see the numbers on your screen right now, 2,000, 2,000, etc. But
there's a hole in Dyrus' pocket being burned right now.
What it equates to is a Bloodthirster Zeal on Sivir and a Deathfire Grass blue pot on LeBlanc. And TSM, they've got some vision. They're going to shove down this tower. They realize that without a wombo combo, there's very little reply because Bjergsen should be able to just pop any one of those three. It looks like he wants to try.
Yeah, you can see him just walking around. He's trying to duo up with Odd1 and make their way to safety. Mew getting pushed out of this top lane. Dominus is on, so it seems like Dyrus knew the engagement was going to be a little tough with that Sunfire cape, but he is able to win it overall.
Defensive wards here from Lemondogs down the bottom half of the map. It's allowing them to at least delay this tower going down, but that's a fully stacked Bloodthirster right now, and every single time Wild Turtle gets in range, that tower takes very big chunks. Bjergsen farming very well in this mid lane as well. He was pushing up with the aid of Dyrus, is maybe going to toy with the idea of finding a kill. Doesn't happen in the bottom lane.
Whoa, they go in for the ultimate again. I'm So Fresh has to get back out of the fight so quickly. The inventory is really only mobility boots for him. Oh, not this time, says Special. He flashes it. They take a good bit of damage, but can they kite the fight? Odd1 is going to be taking some good damage, but he gets over on Xerius, and they will now turn it around. Odd1's trying to get back into this.
Here
He
comes
is
LeBlanc.
bleeding and limping away. Will he be able to get a Bjergsen on one? The Deathfire Grass has been hit out, but there is damage everywhere, and they drop the Odd1. Schleia picks himself up another kill, but the Bjergsen finds a double, and they set themselves up for the minion wave right behind.
3 for 1. We've seen Unstoppable Force almost connecting, but Special with a great flash manages to get out of range. And this is the problem that Lemondogs have. If they don't hit multiple members of TSM, they're not going to win the prolonged fights. And this is basically it. Special with a last-second flash. I mean, it was so well timed. And again, a Dazzle locks up Malphite sitting in the background. Mew had very little impact. Odd1 does manage to survive with some very good juking, and because of all the stalling, because of the delay that TSM was able to apply, it just bought time for both Dyrus and Bjergsen to get in range. Losing 3 for 1, but getting a tower and winning a very convincing team fight, it's a trade they'll take any day of the week.
And you can see kind of how much chaos there was there. The Odd1 was so low, but everybody was fighting someone else. Malphite went to the back line. They were all fighting Odd1. The communication may not be there yet.
If Lemondogs aren't able to pick up a very quick kill, all the fights are going to be like that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much mobility from TSM that they can kite in and out of fights and just continually, cause trouble for the Lemondogs, that Lemondogs have to blow somebody up. And you see TSM, they literally just walk into the jungle, take blue, and walk out. Nobody from Lemondogs can challenge the 10,000 gold down.
Quick shot, we have to go back to our Rumble in the Jungle. Odd1 versus I'm So Fresh. Look at this item discrepancy.
2-1-4 on Odd1's Elise. We highlighted how it was a pick that we expected Odd1 to most likely trend towards.
Yeah.
I had no idea I'm So Fresh was going to play in a movement. I don't think anybody would have predicted that. And I don't think it was a good choice. I don't think his early game presence was impactful in any way, and his decision-making could be questioned as well. He was trying to make a gank on Dyrus, while TSM was pushing 2 towers in the top lane.
Right.
You need to be more fluid when you see your opponent moving around the map.
And another reason they could have just battered down that top lane so fast is you look at Mew and I'm So Fresh, Malphite and Amumu, that's not power that's going to stop a push. You don't have enough damage to kill somebody out right there. They're going to walk away. So that was played on by TSM over and over.
Yeah, Bjergsen taking a page out of Fnatic's book. He's pulling a Fnatic death bush, waiting for somebody to come by, but not the case this time around. And again, the thing you want to keep looking at is vision. Bjergsen's in trouble.
Bjergsen! What's behind door number 1? And it could be safety. Get out of here. Oh, no! I'm So Fresh doesn't get that one. It's one chain. Does he have another chain? Not this time. It's going to be I'm So Fresh on the other side. He still gets the damage in. TSM turns this one around on Lemondog's head, and they're going to be going past inhibitors. No, they're going to slow down there, and they're going to get 2.
And that is why Bjergsen is doing so well. He manages to get away from a face check, thanks to the distortion and the mimic distortion, managing to put a great amount of distance between him and the Lemondogs. Now, all of a sudden, with no ultimates available, with the exception of Unstoppable Force, TSM are going to take this tower basically uncontested.
The level that Bjergsen was at the time he was attacked, pretty much higher than anybody on Lemondogs. You would have think the LeBlanc gets zeroed out as well. Not this time, not when you are leading the game for your team. 12-3 is the score now as we reach 20 minutes in. And it's going to be a 13,000 gold lead. Well, about 12,000 as they reach up to 26 there. So a lot of work to be done here. TSM completely in the driver's seat. Game 1 looks to be theirs.
Yeah, I hate to be pessimistic, but the only way TSM can lose the lead they have generated right now is to go individually, like Bjergsen's doing right now, get caught out, and give up a lot of those killing spree bonuses.
Oh dear.
I think Bjergsen's very confident because I think he may actually want to kill I'm So Fresh. He had some vision of him.
Absolutely.
He's looking for I'm So Fresh. And we'll have to see. It does look like Bjergsen realized that he hasn't found the mummy, and he's going to have to back away as the rest of Lemondogs are moving through the jungle.
Both of them had enough wards there to figure out that they were getting themselves into a sticky situation. And once I'm So Fresh reached his team, Bjergsen had enough. He's waiting for his. Odd one coming out of the base. Looks like they're hanging around a Baron, actually. Wow.
Wow, this is an early. But you know what? Wild Turtle currently has a Bloodthirster fully stacked, Static Shiv, as well as a Last Whisper. You compare that to Crazy Caps. He has a Last Whisper and a Phage. That's it. Now all of a sudden the rest of TSM's here. And this is the earliest Baron of the weekend. 22 minutes on the clock.
Earliest Dragon, earliest Baron.
14,000 gold, the biggest lead. I actually think this lead's even bigger than what we've seen from Alliance and Dignitas yesterday, and a convincing start. You know, just an injection of Europe into North America, and all of a sudden you have this totally dominant team.
I'm sure it's just that. Absolutely. That's the whole reason. Still another turret going down, the second tier to be dropped, and that leaves just the inhibitor turrets up with the Nexus turrets. 5 more to go for Team Solo Mid. They may decide to go straight down one of the lanes, and they've actually been consistent about what they're doing. They're not going on the back foot. They always want more, and it's something we actually saw get the teams in trouble yesterday.
I think the consistency of TSM's decision-making in terms of vision and where they're pushing has really stood out even more than this massive lead that they've built for themselves. Odd one with Wild Turtle and Special realizing someone's in trouble. Although I'm So Fresh, they may want to dive, but you don't want to dive a team that's this far ahead with
Baron.
Baron.
The Shirelles, can they get in here? Oh, it's, whoa, that's not where you want your Lucian to be, but they did a great job at making sure it happened that way. The bomb goes out on the other side. He cannot get the hook shot before he goes down. Odd one drops Schleya, and they are going to have free reign here, only losing 1, but they still got enough to push.
Yeah, they're going to be able to take Mew out completely. They focused on Wild Turtle. A good flash, but I think it's just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, he might be able to queue back. Who knows? He doesn't have that Triforce run that Wicked built on him. Mew gets the Ignite down. There's it. Qs him out. Odd one's going to be able to pick it up after the repel. Good communication there. I'll Ignite, you kill him.
Yeah, 4-1-6. The General lands the last killing blow, and now, while all of that was going on, Bjergsen wasn't going to chase. He made a call to split push, get the wave pushing on the bottom lane. So while they were shutting down Mew, Bjergsen is now taking minions to the bottom lane, while a 3-man TSM shoves it into the middle lane. And this is the point that I think stands out for me in TSM's gameplay. They're realizing where there's opportunities, realizing where they can push and take advantage of their opponent's decisions, and they're just capitalizing in monumental ways time and time again.
So let's figure out a way that, well, we're going to figure it out. Hopefully Lemondogs can. They can stop this next time. It has to be through picks and bans. They can't allow I'm So Fresh to lose that many champions.
So number
but they're
one,
going to have that switch up. So
number one is picks and bans. They need to draft better. I don't think Malphite or Amumu are smart picks against the composition that TSM actually eventually locked in later down the line. I mean, Malphite was the 3rd pick after seeing Renekton and Elise, and I already maybe would have gone against it. I also think that I'm So Fresh needs to respond to TSM's pushes. He cannot sit and say, I want to force a 3v1, I want to force a 3v1, I want to force... Dude, you're losing 2 towers.
Or in the beginning, to do with the Wolves, then
Yes.
going back to sit there.
You need to respond to what your opponents are doing. I think those are the 2 keys that they have to focus on going into match 2, because truly, this is a nearly insurmountable lead. Wild Turtle's 1v1ing the top laner, and that's something you never see. Dyrus may be in trouble.
Dyrus is in a 4v1 right now. Let's see how long he lasts on this. He actually dives into the fight, and he is causing them to want to back off. Odd one just on the backside. He's only down to about 20% HP after they have all had the chance to use
That's
more than
2v4.
one spell reel.
2v4. Dyrus just goes complete man mode, 1v4 in that situation. They're going to dive him.
They're absolutely going to dive him. He's got the rage ready, the double damage, the stun as well to come out, and they lock it down. It's going to be the inhibitor. They're looking for Nexus turrets soon here. And the clocks almost won't let them because the champions will be up, but they'll be back soon.
20,000 gold at 25 minutes. TSM getting close to 800 gold per minute more than the Lemondogs.
They're going to stick on it.
And this is the most convincing, commanding win we've seen all weekend.
TSM came to play. Speaking with Reginald before the game, he was actually feeling quite iffy from the scrim performances of yesterday to today. But apparently, they were just shaking off some nerves.
TSM came to dominate.
Yes.
That was absolute destruction, and I cannot fault a single decision that they made there. The very last fight, Dyrus going 1v4, and the odd one just coming into the cleanup crew and actually pick up kills, that really visualizes how far ahead Team Solo Mid were over this renovated Lemondogs roster.
You can't give Bjergsen a kill that early. Completely uncontested, a 1v1. It was a surprise to everybody, and we saw it as it was going down. I mean, that's how quickly and aggressive he was, and they like to say he's a bit like Reginald, and we saw that at level 1.
A level 3 kill. He was in Schleier's face all the way from level 1. And coming into the match, when I was talking about the matchups, back in the spring split when Schleier was playing, Bjergsen already sort of had Schleier's number and was able to challenge him, contest him, and out-duel him. Schleier farmed well, but that was the only thing he was doing right. He had no kill presence on any other lanes and no impact on Bjergsen's incredibly powerful LeBlanc, who finished 8-1-2.
And we have to look one more time at the Rumble in the Jungle, which I kind of want to bring into the next game because I don't feel like I'm So Fresh got anything he wanted. He looked very uncomfortable on that champion of Amumu. The ultimates were a bit short. LeBlanc was getting out the bandage toss, and there was, like you said, there was enough time to distortion out after a bandage toss when you should be click. You
could have changed that Amumu for the likes of a Zinzao or a Jarvan, who would have had a bigger impact against that type of composition, would have caused some more disruption, maybe still had that Wombo combo effect you were looking for. But I also don't think an all-in press R comp is necessarily what fits anymore. It hasn't worked for a long time because the game is so much quicker, and you need to have those mobility champs in your pocket.
Absolutely.